So today we have a very distinguished panel here today. Let's just have a quick round of introductions. I would like to introduce Shri Subhash Desai, the Minister of Industries, the Government of Maharashtra. We are delighted and honored to have you with us, sir. Shri Desai, thank you for joining. And we have with us Shri B. Venugopal Reddy, who's the Principal Secretary, Industries of Government of Maharashtra. Mr. Reddy, thank you very much for joining us here.
Thank you
We
so
also
much.
thank you. We have Dr. P. Anbalagan, is the CEO of the Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, or MIDC, as you know better. And we also have with us Sudha Natarajan, who's the Director of Bennett Coleman and Company. Thank you, Sudha, for joining us. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We look forward to a great discussion today. And towards the end, time permitting, we will take some questions from the audience. Some questions have already come to us from people who have registered, which is very good because it shows the kind of interest that people have in this discussion today. And just to set the context, Maharashtra, as we all know, is truly the heart of India, the heart of financial India. And we are not talking only of Mumbai. Mumbai, of course, is the financial capital, but even otherwise, Maharashtra has cities like Pune, Nagpur, Nashik, Aurangabad, and many others which offer immense scope for business. It is the country's most industrialized state. It has the biggest state economy, the highest per capita income. It routinely attracts the highest FDI. It has the headquarters of India's central bank, all major banks, all the major stock markets, big industries, headquarters of industries like oil, steel, infrastructure, real estate, capital goods, energy, industries like agro and food processing, consumer finance, consumer goods, among many others. These have their entire ecosystems, advanced ecosystems based out of Maharashtra. It has the country's biggest ports, biggest airports, extensive road network, metro rail projects are coming up, and it's also a major education hub. So as India plans to, targets to become a $5 trillion economy by 2024, Maharashtra has the target to become India's first $1 trillion state economy, which is a great ambition to have, and it would require a high degree of growth from now. It will, and that high degree of growth will require a lot of policy and enablement support from the state government. The coronavirus pandemic has made things a little difficult. It has set us back a little bit, but the government has put in a lot of plans to make things better, and hopefully the economy will start, coming back on the growth track. Already we have seen some results of companies that are showing, positive signs. And hopefully the path forward will also be very, very strong. So today we are going to basically talk about these policy enablers and incentives that the government has to chart a new growth story. And so for that we will have a chat with our esteemed panelists. So I will start with the Honorable Minister, Shri Desai.
Conference is being recorded.
I think you're on mute, sir. If you can unmute yourself. The first question that I'd like to ask you, Shri Desai, yes, you're okay now, is, what is the current scenario of the pandemic, and what is the government plans to contain the damage from the spread of the virus, including the health infrastructure? We were discussing, you're saying that the situation has improved a little bit. So can you tell us a little bit about what the plans are to control the damage?
COVID-19 pandemic is active across the globe, and we are fortunate to have best scientific minds who are engaged to look for a cure, and we must take care and steps to restart the economy as well, and of course in a phased manner. Our Honorable Chief Minister Sri Uddhav Thackeray is fighting on both the fronts. He is fighting to contain the pandemic, at the same time for the revival of the economy. And Maharashtra is among the first of the states to initiate the lockdown and issue social and physical distancing guidelines. At the same time, we allowed several essential industries from day one of the first lockdown. And the response from the people is tremendous. We have also increased the number of tests in the whole country. And we have initiated the movement on contact tracing. Without people's participation, this cannot be successful. So contact tracing is our first step to contain the pandemic. And our major goal is to reduce the death rate, at the same time, to increase the rate of people getting discharged from the hospitals. So on these two fronts, government, local bodies, and mainly the people in general are very active and working with full understanding with each other. So we are looking forward the number now getting reduced day after day, and the cities are becoming little free. So we are hopeful that this serious situation will certainly be followed by
Conference is being recorded.
some sense of relief that we will certainly have. So pragmatic and dynamic approach of the state government is surely reaching results, and we are confident of defeating the virus.
Thank you very much. In fact, that's very positive. In fact, I know I live in Delhi, and Delhi also the situation is improving a little bit, but Maharashtra definitely is doing better, doing very well. Mr. Reddy, if I can come to you with the next question. If we are going to look at, the economy of Maharashtra and the impact it has had from COVID, what are, if you have a broad policy kind of outlay for renewing the state's growth engine, maybe you can just tell us what your plans are broadly. How are you planning to renew the state's growth engine? What are the policies that they are going to promote new factories and things like that in Maharashtra?
Yeah. As you all know, Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra has recently launched the Magnetic Maharashtra 2. And under the guidance of our Honorable Minister, we have embarked on various measures which will further improve the industrial investment atmosphere in Maharashtra. You all know that Maharashtra has been the leading state in industrialization. It contributes to 15% of the GDP of the country, and in foreign direct investments also it has got a lion's share. Now, to take Maharashtra to a higher level, recently the government of Maharashtra has initiated various measures. To improve the investment atmosphere, the first and foremost thing is the land. Regarding land, we have decided through the to implement plug and play policy, basically to create a plug and play infrastructure in MIDC estates, and also to come out with a policy for short-term leases and on rental basis. So these are two very important measures which we are going to initiate vis-a-vis to make land as a sort of very attractive proposition. And another very important measure that we have initiated in Maharashtra is Mahaparvana. Mahaparvana is automatic approval for industries which are investing more than 50 crore to take up all the pre-establishment activities. As soon as an investor makes an application in Maitri, within 48 hours he will get Mahaparvana, which means
Okay, we cannot hear Mr. Reddy. I think his connection is bad. So we'll move to Dr. Anbalagan. Dr. Anbalgan, just to carry forward what Mr. Reddy was talking about, if you could talk a little bit about, smaller businesses and micro entrepreneurs, they play a very, so Mr. Reddy is back. Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Reddy? You were finished talking
Yeah. I'm
and
sorry,
then we
there was
lost.
small disruption.
Yeah. I
So
think the internet connection is quite bad today everywhere because of the weather,
yeah,
maybe.
it seems so.
Yes, please finish what you were saying.
I was talking about Mahaparvana. So in Mahaparvana, once an investor makes an application in Maitri, within 48 hours, he is given permission to take up all the pre-establishment activities, and in the case of plug and play infrastructure, to operate. In whatever permissions are there, they are given in a strictly time-bound manner, and if any particular department which pertaining to the 19 permissions or approvals which are listed in Mahaparvana, if they fail to give a formal approval within the specified time, which is less than a month in fact in all the cases, a deemed permission is issued from the Maitri. So there will be absolutely no hindrance to investment process. So this is a very important step which Maharashtra government has taken. The third thing is
Right.
For every investor, for every investment which is worth more than 50 crore rupees, a relationship manager will be appointed to help them from the time of application making to operations till the time it becomes functional. And this will be this entire thing arrangement is being done by MIDC. And one more thing which we have initiated recently is we have created an industrial employment bureau called Mahajobs. The purpose of this is to provide skilled manpower to the industries in the way they want. So this portal will help both the industries as well as job seekers. It is a bridge between them, and in a very good qualitative manner, they will get highly skilled manpower using the Mahajobs portal. So these are the very important steps.
Broad things. Yeah. Right. Mr. Reddy, thank you very much. That gives us a very good broad idea. Just to carry forward what you were saying, and I was coming to Dr. Anbalgan. Dr. Anbalgan, if we talk about the smaller industries, there's a lot of interest around it. We are talking about plans and policies to support the growth of small businesses, micro entrepreneurs. In fact, if all the panelists are able to look at the questions that are coming in from the audience in the Q&A tab, you will see a lot of questions there from the smaller businesses. They're not able to obtain incentives because of lengthy procedure and time consuming. Is there any financial help that the government is planning to give to MSME segment? So can you give us an overview of what MIDC and the government is planning to do for smaller businesses and small entrepreneurs?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity.
You need to come a little closer to the mic. We are not able to hear you properly.
MSME, I think I'm audible now.
Yes, it's better.
MSME being the backbone, and it is a major creator of employment. So we will divide basically the strategy. I would say the intervention strategy in two aspects. Basically, because of COVID, post-COVID, the reviving the existing units is the much more priority for both the state government and also the central government. We all know
Right.
Government of India has announced Atmanirbhar Bharat Yojana, which precisely tries to infuse capital in the form of maybe interest subvention, loan, and also a loan for a working capital without collaterals, and also creation of a special fund for MSMEs, where the cash flow issue, the immediate cash flow issue need to be tackled. Basically, the MSME should have money in hand to pay their workers and also to pay for the working capital, because the entire supply chain is being affected. With that background, the government of Maharashtra is also working on in tandem with wherever the gap or wherever the additionalities to be involved. So government of Maharashtra is also working on such thing, which will come up very soon. This is one thing which we are immediately we need to tackle for MSMEs. That's a cash flow issue of those smaller units. Secondly, for the new entrepreneurs we are going to invest, as like our principal secretary was mentioning, the plug and play. The plug and play is not only with like built up space and work shed, it also coming with the short term rentals. For example, if you want to own a like 2,000 square meter of land in maybe I would say Chakan or Talegaon, it nothing less than it costs around 1.5 to 2 crore. So here at 9 to 10 rupees per square feet, we are trying to provide them built up space. So the short term rental and short term lease for 10 years and also deferred payment, like for example, they need to pay only the 20 to 25% of the amount, and minimum they will have minimum 4 to like 6 installments in a 3 to 4 years time span. They can pay the land amount. Even in short term rental, the companies or the units are given an option to buy back the property, both the work shed or also the rental. This is going to be a game changer. So even in entire, I would say plug and play, even if we can do 5,000 units a year, for another 5 years, if we create a 25,000 units we support, particularly light engineering, auto, garmenting, electronics, food processing. So 5 to, and also of course ESDM, the electronics and like design management. Nothing less than 5 lakh employment.
So, Dr. Anbalagan, if an SME needs some financial help, is there a process that you have in place that they can follow to come?
No, I'm not able to hear, please.
I'm saying if an MSME is looking for some financial help, you are talking about the cash flow situation, right? If somebody is in trouble and needs some money, needs some loans or help, what should they do? Is there any support from the government?
Now basically like Atmanirbhar Bharat has given up a host of schemes, like 4 schemes are there. So that is a one intervention which we should do. And second is more than that, whether GOM also can go for an additional interest subvention. Suppose if government of India is going for like 5%, then whether we can go for another 2 to 3%, because the 11 to 12% is a normal interest rate. So that is a one thing where we should be able to do. Secondly, all the government dues. For example, MIDC has like rescheduled all the dues up to September 30th without anything. All the plots, all the premiums. So we are not getting any cash inflow from March. So we don't bother. So still September 30th, no like penal or no interest. And secondly, as we say, the water charges, which minimal charges we used to charge on them, basically based on the infrastructure cost, that is also been done away with. Even in Mumbai and Metro, all the monsoon works, monsoon shed permission, those approval, that's cost also been done away with. So by that way, MIDC is also close to around 150 to 200 crore rupees as like given in the form of various concessions. More than that, particularly suppose incentives and other thing which is like due from the government, that needs to be paid, which the government of like Maharashtra is well aware, and we are working on that.
Right, thank you. I think the minister is a little busy. Subhash ji, you can unmute yourself, sir. And I think Mr. Reddy and Dr. Anbalagan can mute yourself now for a little bit. Subhash ji, if you look at, Maharashtra and even in other states, farmers and the agriculture, agriculture is a very important part of the whole, economy and ecosystem, right?
Yes, yes.
So I just wanted to understand from you, what are the plans that the government has, any policy support that you are planning, to support farmers and for the growth of the agriculture ecosystem?
Yes. Agriculture has been the important part of our economy. Of the state, the agriculture activities are always remain focused, and we have putting our best efforts to support the farming community.
I think yes, frozen up.
Our textile parks is the initiative to support the basically agriculture. Since we have good quality cotton growing state, we want to establish the value addition activities based on cotton. See, so from farm to fiber, from fiber to fabric, and fabric to fashion, end-to-end solutions in textile development sector. Our Amravati Textile Park is one step forward towards this goal. And now we want to replicate this kind of textile parks in other parts, particularly in cotton growing areas, not elsewhere. Cotton growing areas, Marathwada, Northern Maharashtra, Vidarbha. Again, we are focusing on food processing. We have our own policy. State has the policy to encourage the food processing, fruit processing, because Maharashtra is fortunate to have a variety of crops, right from food grains, variety of food grains. We have a large variety of quality fruits, right from mango, grapes, oranges, bananas, and so on. So based on this agriculture produce as raw material, we are also fortunate to have good cultivation of vegetables. Having no support services or infrastructure built, much of this agriculture produce goes waste. It is estimated that around 30% of our fruits and vegetables are wasted year on year. So now we are focused to establish cold chain, establish infrastructure for storage, testing, and making room for export potentials. So here we are developing the food processing parks. Two major food processing parks are already launched. One in Vidarbha, second is Marathwada, and of course third is Satara. BVG Group has launched a very good food processing plant there near Satara, and Paitan near Aurangabad is managed by Pagliwal Group. So Nath Group. So that is a good initiative in private sectors. Now we in MIDC we are planning a beautiful this food processing park in Bidkin, again in Aurangabad. That is the part of our Auric township. And Auric has come up as a globally known industrial township. Now part of it is Bidkin, and there the food processing park is taking shape. So we will invite the entrepreneurs. We are negotiating with the universities, and we are getting support of some scientists. They are giving some ideas. Again, the startups are now welcome here. So together,
Right.
we can choose the products. We can have raw material supply, and bringing these two sectors together, I think our farming community will get the benefits because there will be value addition to their produce.
To the produce.
Likewise, in other sectors, other areas or regions like Western Maharashtra, Konkan particularly, because Konkan is also blessed with the variety of quality fruits. So Konkan is also its top on our agenda for supporting agriculture and food processing activities.
Right. In fact, that's a very good series of steps and initiatives you're taking. And I'll move to, Mr. Reddy again. Basically, there are certain industries which are very critical to Maharashtra. Like, for example, consumer goods manufacturing is very core to Maharashtra. Most of the consumer goods, companies, many of them are based out of Maharashtra. So for this, the supply chain disruption has been very heavy because of the coronavirus pandemic, right? And so are there any plans and policies that you have to support the growth of consumer goods manufacturing? Which are the industrial zones you're focusing on? Where are the major investments you see coming? And can you just tell us a little bit about your plans on this in this sector? You're on mute, sir. You'll have to unmute yourself first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During the lockdown, in the initial part, there were some issues about supply chain. Very
Okay.
soon, very quickly, we addressed that issue. And after that, for all the industries, the supply chains, they were restored. In fact, the MIDC had launched a web-based app in which a very user-friendly kind of app was posted, in which the industries based on self certification, they were able to start the functions, and supply chains were also a part of it. Now coming to the consumer goods, as you rightly said, Maharashtra is a leader in consumer goods.
Yeah.
Now, during the lockdown, we have taken a lot of measures to keep even the consumer goods, whichever are essential, to be functioning. Now, in the days to come, we have plans to promote the consumer goods sector also, using our package scheme of incentives. It provides various incentives to all the industries, and consumer goods is an important component. Now, our expectation is that the demand will soon rise, because the consumer goods market and industries functions, they depend more on the demand, and we are hopeful that demand will rise very soon, and once the demand supply equation is restored, there will be no hurdle for consumer goods sector to function. So we are in the new industrial estates that are coming up. Certainly, the consumer goods sector also will have an important place. This is what I guess.
Okay. And let's look at a little broader kind of scope. You wanted to add something more, Mr. Reddy?
I'm sorry.
Did you want to say something more? Did I interrupt you?
Yeah. See, one more thing I want to mention here is that our thrust in the days to come will be on engineering components and import substitution also. These are the two principles on which the Maharashtra state will be focusing. The Industries Department and MIDC are preparing elaborate plans with the guidance by our Honorable Minister. We are in consultations with all the stakeholders vis-a-vis these two aspects. So we are preparing elaborate plans to take these two important strategies forward. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I think Subhashji has a little constraint on his time. So Dr. Anbalagan, I'll come to you after I have a question for Subhashji. And Subhashji, basically there's this question that has come from the audience from Bhama Venkatramani. She's talking about universities and higher education institutes which can play a significant role. So universities and education can also play a significant role, in many ways, and they can, for example, undertake projects to identify opportunities for MSMEs, or teachers, faculty, academicians, they can provide consultancy. So is there a plan by the government to create any platform to facilitate this kind of academic and industry interaction?
Yes, we have a specific plan to bring the academia and industry together on one platform. And these two sectors should work more actively together to take this initiative to the next level. And for this, we have introduced in our policy, Industrial Policy 2018, this particular clause that the government shall endeavor to support the academia to come closer to industries, and there we can find more ideas, very stronger ideas, and new entrepreneurs will be encouraged. And this is the area where we can find more and more startups with the brilliant ideas,
Right.
and government is ready to support them at every stage. We have created a venture capital with the help of IDBI and SIDBI. These two banks are ready with this venture capital, so the entrepreneurs need not worry for raising the capital for their projects. If the project is viable, they are getting the support of finances 100% through these schemes. So,
Oh, okay.
academia and industries worldwide, particularly the developed countries, they have already established these linkages. And now, in India, we must take this forward. So we are ready with this scheme. Again, we are encouraging certain sectors, exports, information technology, then continuous process industries, defense manufacturing. All these sectors need more activism from the industries, as well as the industrial initiatives must be supported from the knowledge-based institutions. If this goes on, I think we will have no problem attracting new investment as well as keeping our young generation engaged in this drive. So magnetic Maharashtra will not remain only dream, but we will certainly realize this dream with whatever initiatives my colleagues have already elaborated, plug and play, Mahaparvana or master license, Mahajobs or industrial employment bureau, relationship management system. These initiatives are focused towards this direction. As many as 16 foreign and domestic industries have signed MOUs with government of Maharashtra in presence of our Honorable Chief Minister for new investment proposals. We are also developing one bulk pharma park in line with Government of India's Atmanirbhar vision. So this pharma park would be a new milestone in the history of industrial development of Maharashtra. Our AURIC at Aurangabad is already talk of the town. Why? It is the talk of the world. It has come up like a world-class infrastructure township project. Our FDI growth is sustained year on year. This is revealed by RBI that Maharashtra attracts more than 33% of the total FDI that comes to India, and we will continue with this march. So this shows that Maharashtra is really magnetic. Our magnetic forces are so powerful that we will keep attracting domestic and foreign investment into the state. And if any state has potential to become a $1 trillion economy, that is Maharashtra.
Yes, it is indeed.
And we will not miss this bus, I assure you. And really, this is the new growth story of Maharashtra. COVID-19 is a big challenge. It is a crisis. But at the same time, we are looking for opportunities around these critical situations. And these opportunities will certainly create new jobs, prosperity. Our revenue will go up. At the same time, state would be prosperous. And I think this is the story of Mission Maharashtra that Economic Times has very nicely presented and given us opportunity to put forward our views and schemes and initiatives. I thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, Subhashji. Thank you for joining us.
I also thank Sudhaji and Bharati. Your whole team has certainly created this platform, and I hope and I request you to continue with this. Let us have periodic interactions and bringing other peoples also on this platform. Thank you very much. Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, Subhashji. Jai Maharashtra. So welcome to Dr. Anbalagan. It was quite an honor to have Subhashji with us today for some time. His time is very valuable. So is yours, of course. And Dr. Anbalagan, maybe you can give us a small idea about, how MIDC, how do you perceive the global economic order now? And what kind of, especially after the China scenario, and how do you see it in terms of India building its strategy for 2050, right? Maybe you can give us a visionary kind of outlay on that. Have you, we are not able to hear you. There's a problem with your mic, I think. Say something again.
Can you hear?
Yes, yes, we can hear now.
So, the COVID-19, I would say, though it's also a challenge, parallelly it also gives us tremendous opportunities in certain sectors. With like countries like Japan, Korea, Taiwan, even Germany, and even USA, diversifying their production base, and in every like global economy, the bigger countries are like trying to de-risk their locations, so that like in the time of crisis also they should be able to help back home. So India is as a whole is here to gain, provided we have a like a strong policy support at the I would say from the union government level, which is already seized of the matter, and lot of initiatives have been taken by government of India and our honorable Prime Minister. And with Maharashtra being the largest economy of the, I would say, the country, and it contributes 1/6, we are here to gain. And there are certain sectors which are like here to play a very dominant role. One is like an API, pharmaceutical, and like entire medical sector, which also includes medical diagnostics and medical equipments. Not only API and I would say bulk drug, but also additional whatever like the equipments and for the medical purpose and also for the diagnostic purpose. Second, which the country is hugely dependent on import for like electronics. The estimate says that almost close to like 400 billion is the what the volume of it's going to be in another like I would say 10 to 15 years. So electronics system design manufacturing, including like consumer electronics, and another sector which like a state with Pune being like a IT and electronic hub, we are geared to aim. And third, I would say like light engineering and manufacturing. These are the 3-4 sectors where we are like supposed to concentrate. And Maharashtra with the best of the policy, we have like a state GST refund. It's the only state which gives an incentive in the gross GST, which already takes care of like input credit, and which makes phenomenal, and you get more money in a lesser time when you compare to like other states. And it is not only the states which we are competing with countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and even Bangladesh, and also Malaysia. So these 4-5 sectors with this policy, I think Maharashtra is here to stay in the competition, here to gain more with a lot of skilled workforce, and with this Maha Parwana like accelerated and automatic approvals and Maha jobs. The state and MIDC is here to like play a very pivotal role.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Reddy, you know, there is the automobile industry also has major clusters in Maharashtra, right? So around Pune and Mumbai, some of the biggest companies are there in Maharashtra. So, you know, is there, just like you spoke about consumer goods manufacturing, you know, Maharashtra is so big and so important that practically every industry has its, you know, core in Maharashtra, right? But automobile has been facing a lot of problems because of the coronavirus pandemic, as you know, and the whole industry has been suffering because this is a lockdown and people are just not going out. They don't have the time to buy the scope or even the money, because people are also, you know, struggling with finances. So what kind of support is the government planning to give for automobile companies so that they can come out of this crisis?
During the lockdown also, now automobile sectors are except for small pockets, like municipal corporation areas of MMR, rest all areas, automobile sector, the industries are functioning. We are taking utmost care to ensure that they won't face any disruption. And as you know, in automobile sector, Maharashtra is the leader, and will make all out efforts to keep this position intact and to grow much further. If you look at our package scheme of incentives and its implementation, a major share goes to the automobile sector. And I would like to say today's seminar that we will take whatever measures are required to ensure that Maharashtra retains its position and grows much further. And one more thing I would like to mention here is that our thrust now will be on EVs, electric based vehicles. So we are in consultation, we are in in discussions with the automobile leaders, as to how we can take this idea forward in Maharashtra, and to ensure that a lot of investments will be made in this particular segment. So this is our focal area in the times to come. And if it requires any special incentives, we are ready to consider that also. We'll take all necessary measures to create a very conducive atmosphere in Maharashtra to take automobile sector forward, and especially the EV-based vehicles.
Especially EVs. Okay, good. So we are at 12:45 almost, and so this is the time for the audience Q&A. So what we'll do is there are some questions that came on email and some questions that are here in the Q&A tab. So I will just ask the question, and then either one of you can take that question and answer it. So there's a question that came on email from Sandesh Pradhan, who's the CEO of Iram Magnaflux in Pune, and he wants to know what specific steps are being planned for industrial electronics equipment manufacturers. Will there be any concession on taxes for such companies? Dr. Anbalagan, you want to take that question?
For this, like with even the policy 2019 takes electronics as a thrust sector. As I was mentioning, like it's going to have a lot of import substitution, and with electronics, like medical electronics, consumer electronics, you have a host of sectors are there. The government is also initially aiming, I would say, assisting setting up of 3 brownfield electronic clusters. One in Pune, another in Aurangabad, and another in Navi Mumbai, where MIDC is one of the stakeholder, where we are also pumping in our resources. Particularly, this will be more of a common facility to assist small and medium players in calibration, maybe R&D, and also other assisted and other added things. More than that, our electronic policy makes very less benchmark, or I would say minimal fixed capital investment, so as to qualify as a mega project. For example, if you say that 1,500 is the benchmark for another bigger project, here even 250 crores and 100 crores gets the same incentive. So that way, almost I would say even 1/4 of the investment qualifies as a mega project in electronic sector. And Government of Maharashtra and MIDC is in the process to set up a full-fledged world-class electronic cluster, not only for common facility, it's also for the manufacturers to chip in a built-up spaces, where we had quite an elaborate discussion with the sector specialists and sector stakeholders. So we are also trying to chip in an overseas player, so that at least minimum 250 acres electronic park we are planning in Chakan Talegaon corridor. Soon we will be floating the UIE for that. And I think more on incentive, I think I would request our principal secretary to respond.
So in fact, Mr. Reddy, as you take this discussion forward, there's another question which asks that similar question, which says, is the government considering any exemption in taxes to industries for pandemic period, like waiver of property tax or fixed demand charges in electricity? So you might just add that answer to what you're going to say now.
Yeah, there are certain things under consideration of the government. So we are pursuing that, and soon we are hopeful that I'll be able to say something on that.
You don't want to disclose anything now?
Yeah, at the moment it is beyond my purview, and
Okay.
I hope we'll be able to say something on that.
That's good. That's fine. Mr. Prasad P had sent a question to us on email where he says that food and agri clients, dairy, aqua, horticulture, they're keen to set up greenfield capex of around 200 to 500 crores in Maharashtra. They want to avail the capex grant initiative, the cold chain food parks agro cluster of PMKSY Sampada at the MOFPI. So between 5 crores to 35 crores. Now, once this capex greenfield is successfully run for trial and production, then they are keen to avail the PSOI 2019, which provides only fiscal incentives. So other states allow such a process of availing capex incentives from central, while state government allows fiscal incentives for the same project. So some companies apparently are keenly exploring the post-COVID-19 Maharashtra for greenfield investments, so that they can put their DPR for capex grant incentives to MOFPI at the same time. And then they would like to avail the PSOI 2019. Is this possible? So Dr. Anbalagan, maybe you want to take on that question. It's quite a complex question, but it makes a difference to investments in the state.
I will have one word, then of course our principal secretary will add on that. See, total is like whichever sources we are availing incentive, be it a capex or maybe a performance link, which normally in the form of like GST refunds. So the benchmark or maximum which we can claim is like fixed. Suppose in food processing more than like 100% we can, because it also generates more employment. We generate wherever like the food processing industry is going to generate more employment, you will also claim additional 20%. For example, for illustrative purpose, if I say 100 crore is my investment, and suppose if I am going to take, for example, 10 or 15 crore from Government of India as a capex, so my eligible investment for in our state is 85 crore. So on that 85 crore, I can also claim 120% if it is in a food processing. So that way, like basically you can combine that. The one thing is capex, of course, you will be receiving it beforehand. And for like performance linked or maybe fiscal incentive, you will be, of course, after the commencement of the commercial production. And also it depends on how best and how we are going to like generate the tax returns for the state. I think the secretary you can add on.
I will add a point here, Mr. Lokesh. The incentive policy of Maharashtra, it basically, is based on certain principles like the production linked incentives. While saying so, what we take into consideration is the amount of fixed capital investment that has to be given into the incentives. Now, if you look at Vidarbha and Marathwada, for instance, it goes up to 100% of the fixed capital investment as incentives over a period of 7 or 10 years, as the case may be, because there is a gradation like large, mega, and ultra mega units. Now, one more thing which we are deliberating upon at this juncture is revising the limits of this, fixed capital investment vis-a-vis the classification of industry into large, mega, etc. So that way, if you look at it, any industry performing well, they can aspire to get 100% of the fixed capital investment over a period of 7 or 10 years. So that's the scheme that Maharashtra has got, and it is the best in the country. This is linked to gross state GST, and nowhere in the country you get this kind of incentive. So even if it appears superficially that capital investment based, this capital subsidy is not available, but it is much better than what you get in capital subsidy. So my request to all the investors is that if you look into the scheme of Maharashtra, that is the best in the country, and I request all of you to kindly consider investments in food processing in Maharashtra. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. And Dinesh Dave is asking a question. He's saying that he has given a proposal for removing statutory compliances for MSME units having turnover up to 50 crores. Compulsory online billing, he says, is sufficient. Is there any plan to do something on similar on those lines? Remove all statutory compliances for MSME units up to 50 crore and just let them do online billing?
Okay. See, The Mahaparvana right now is applicable for investments above 50 crore, but MSMEs we have given lots of incentives, which are better than the larger industries. In fact, so this particular point will take up for consideration. Considering MSMEs for Mahaparvana, will certainly look into this request.
Okay, Dr. Anbalagan, you wanted to say something about this? You're on mute. We can't hear you still. Yeah, okay.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
See, one thing we can also think, see, for 50 crores and above, the Mahaparvana has come, which takes care of majority of the pre-establishment, I think, say, pre-commencement permissions. But maybe
Right.
for all there is a thought process for all the process industries which come in less moderate pollution potential and also medium pollution potential. I would say green, white and orange category. There is a wild thinking that whether we can also go in with 2 to 3 years of maybe free compliances for those units, excluding those red or polluting industries. The thinking is there. Maybe most probably we will take it forward to the government. I think most probably we should also get something on that.
Okay. I think electricity bill is causing a lot of trouble to a lot of people. There is quite some questions on inflated electricity billing, but I don't know if that can be really tackled here. But I wanted to also ask, there's a question on the R&D labs and whether MIDC is providing an R&D lab kind of services facilities for companies.
As of now, we are not providing any built-up spaces for R&D, but we can if there is sufficient demand is there. Earlier we had a plan to set up an R&D park close to Pune Mumbai Expressway close to Tolnaka. We identify some parcel of land. If there are really a serious thing, I think we can think of. And now the plug and play is going to come. Typically, for electronics, also it's going to be more of a RCC building and the bare building is going to be there. If there are sufficient demand, MIDC will surely think of providing a spaces also for R&D.
Right. So there is a question from Amitabh Sinha who, on the land issue, and he says that the MSME's definition has been changed to enable them to grow, which is great. We've just seen it recently. But land availability in the state that operate in, that's a roadblock. Small industry cannot start to operate from another estate, which is say 50 kilometers away, as the operating costs will be unaffordable. And so there are many parcels of land, he says, which are earmarked as commercial, but which are lying unused for 30, 40 years. These can be converted into industrial land and allotted to those who are within that area, especially to the smaller MSMEs. So he's giving an example of the Kalmeshwar industrial area. Is there any thought around this as a solution for the land issue from the government?
I would say typically to answer Vidarbha and Marathwada, Kalmeshwar, Boom and other thing. Absolutely, there should not be any problem in converting that, and immediately we will look into the very specific case. We should look into that, and we are here not to make money out of that. Basically, because it has a potential. If it is not being taken, and as a process, we convert it into industrial purpose. Secondly, as a whole, the land availability has improved phenomenally. I would say only in Pune region, like Pune, Talegaon, Ranjangaon, I would say Indapur, Kesharidi and Kandala, Satara, this sector, we have almost more than 12,000 acres of land. Will be available in another 3 to 4 months. Again, Nasik, Amanagar corridor, we have another 3,500. And Aurangabad, we have a DMIC, Auric City, where we have a 10,000 acres of land, one of the best infrastructure anywhere in the country. You cannot see that sort of infrastructure. And Butiburi, Aurangabad, Butiburi and Amravati also have close to 5,000 acres. First time in Mumbai metropolitan region, we have almost close to 20,000 acres of land. So we are getting land in additional Taloja, Kalapur, Mangaon, Digi, Tarapur, even Shapur. So absolutely in another 2 to 3 months, we are going to have almost close to 40,000 to 45,000 acres of land, and the availability is going to be phenomenally improved. And this specific case of wherever there are commercial no takers, we will surely convert that also into industry.
Right. There is actually a lot of questions on MSMEs and all. There's one question on e-commerce. Sandeep Pillai wants to know if there is any support or help from the government or e-commerce sectors like loans or subsidies, especially for new players who are coming into Everybody wants help, sir.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of help that people need, and everybody is looking up to you. So, Mr. Reddy, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I'll answer that. See, we are in touch with e-commerce portals like Amazon and Flipkart. So we are requesting them to provide this facility to MSMEs at a nominal price.
Okay.
So we the very serious deliberations with them. So I'm hopeful that soon we'll have a sort of tie-up with them to provide this kind of facility to them.
Okay, great. And I'll take one last question because we are just about a minute away from the closure. And is there any state government support for aviation and aerospace sector? And aviation, as we all know, has been very massively hit by the coronavirus, after Jet Airways closure and COVID-19 and all. And so Ninad Chavan wants to know if there is any new policy at Nagpur Airport and other MIDC and MADC airports.
See, aviation and airport, providing X-ray that's not in consideration at this stage.
Okay.
So, aviation as a sector, industrial sector, certainly it is one of our priority areas, and definitely, we will invite whatever proposals are there in this particular segment, and we are ready to discuss on even if specific incentives kind of thing are required for aviation and defense and all these segments of frontline areas.
I will add on one thing for defense sector. MADC operates a venture capital fund for defense. So though it's with like a very small amount of 300 crores, we got a very good the best of the response for that. So we already funded maybe 6 to 7 projects where we initially we infuse equity up to like I would say 30 crore or maybe 60% of the project, whichever is like maximum. I would say 30 crore is the maximum. So we are also lining up maybe 2-3 like fund providers, and we are trying to take up this fund level to maybe 2,000 crores. So defense is particularly, these are very specifically for MSME. More than 60 to 70% is all going to be for the MSME. So defense is like where MADC is going to directly infuse capital in the form of equity. So it's depending on the project and other thing. Though SIDBI does the project betting and other thing, and CEO is the chairman of the fund distribution, particularly the process. So that is the one area I think readers and particularly the viewers should be knowing, and the very good potential to improve upon, particularly Aurangabad, Pune, I would say Pune, Nasik and Nagpur. These 3 clusters can come up quite a good on defense sector.
Right. So, we've run out of time, but I'll still take one final question. It is from Abhay Bharat Pandey, and he wants to know, what he's commenting is that most of the future plans you have mentioned today are in Pune and Mumbai areas. Are there any plans for other areas in Maharashtra? He's saying most of the plans that you have outlined here today are around Mumbai and Pune. So are there plans for other areas also, like Gadchiroli? Somebody was asking about Gadchiroli. And, do you have plans for areas beyond Pune and Mumbai?
No. See, only particularly for overseas investors, we do market only 3 to 4 clusters. We cannot market Parbhani, Latu. Of course, if somebody takes more land, and Gadchiroli is also we had a land, and now Lloyds is is getting into the project. And if there are demand, MADC also develops small mini growth clusters. They're not looking at the cash flow or maybe commercial line, and more as a responsibility for an organized and systematic industrial development. So we also have a land in Gadchiroli. We can also add on. There are 2-3 additional proposals are also there in Gadchiroli, depending on the I would say the response from the farmers. I think we should be able to set up maybe a mini cluster there also. We have 289 clusters across the district. It's not only Pune and other things. Someone mentioned Kalmeshwar, Tadli. You have Saner, Kamti. You name a place there, there you have a MADC.
One more thing I would like to
Yes, I'm sure there will be differential. Yes, please.
Yeah, I would like to mention here to reinforce what Mr. Anbalgan has mentioned. If you look at our incentives policy, the highest priority goes to Gadchiroli and other aspirational districts. So that way, investor is ready to come. You know, they get 110% of fixed capital investment as incentives over a period of time. So this shows that the government attaches highest priority to these areas. So my request is you kindly take this message to all the investors through your platform, and certainly will be able to generate a lot of investments over there. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Reddy, Dr. Anbalgan, for joining us today. Thanks to all the people who attended this event and for sending us so many questions. There are many more questions still, but there is no more time, unfortunately, to answer all of them. We need to take up a lot more time. I think there is a sense of very strong intent of the government of Maharashtra to make things happen, to change the situation on the ground, to still move towards the $1 trillion state economy target despite the COVID challenges. I think that is very, very admirable. And investors and government must work together, sort out issues, and work together to, make the state grow and take its position as the first state to be the $1 trillion economy in the country. Thank you all very, very much for joining us today in this discourse. It was a pleasure having both of you and a pleasure having the minister also with us. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for giving us this opportunity to interact with various stakeholders. Thank you.
You are most welcome. Thank you. Goodbye.